Hey, what's going on? So it's time to talk a little bit about this whole Seth Rich case. Seth Rich, as we know, or you should know, if you don't know, Google him, was working for the DNC during the primaries between Bernie Sanders and Hillary Rotten Clinton. Seth Rich was murdered July 10th, coming home from a bar in Washington, D.C. He was fatally shot while walking home, and it's claimed that it was a robbery. The problem with that is that nothing was taken off his person. His money, his watch, his wallet, everything was still intact. So that's the narrative. That he was robbed, killed in a robbery, but the robbers didn't steal anything from him. Now, if you're brave enough to actually shoot someone in the street like that to rob them, nothing's going to stop you. It's going to take another 2 minutes to grab his wallet, grab his watch, and run away. If you've gone as far as already shooting the person, why wouldn't you take his wallet, take his money, take whatever you came to rob him of, unless you're not there to rob him? Now let's start a little bit before that. June 14, 2016, the DNC announces that it has been the victim of a Russian hack. One part of what we come to find out through these hacks was that then DNC chair Debbie Wasserman Schultz was having a conversation about Bernie Sanders. Essentially planning strategies for how to have the media shape the coverage of Bernie Sanders. Now, we do know, we've come to find out through emails, that the DNC, the Clinton campaign, and many in the mainstream media were in cahoots, in collusion, if you will. So, but this part is about how the DNC was working to shape the narrative of the media against Bernie Sanders in favor of Hillary Clinton, and that the DNC wanted Bernie out of the race, out of the primaries. You know, they were planning to coronate Queen Hillary from the very beginning. You couldn't have anyone get in her way, whether it was Bernie Sanders or Seth Rich. So then Debbie Wasserman Schultz ends up stepping down as the DNC chairperson. So we come to find out later on that Donna Brazile, the new DNC chair at the time, was caught with questions to the debate to give to Hillary so that she can have an advantage over Bernie Sanders. Now, of course, Donna Brazile later on steps down as DNC chair, and she's quoted, roughly I paraphrase, that she was only sorry that she was caught cheating. Not that she was cheating, but that she was caught cheating. So this is your DNC who was in collusion with the Clinton campaign in order to take out Bernie Sanders. There is very good speculative evidence that Seth Rich was the leaker. He found out that the DNC was working in cahoots, in collusion with the Clinton campaign, and he was a Bernie Sanders supporter. So all of you Bernie supporters out there who ended up voting for Hillary, you should be ashamed of yourself for voting for Hillary, but also because she's a cheater and she cheated you out of your candidate. So Seth Rich found out somehow he had access to these emails, saw that the DNC was colluding with the Clinton campaign to get rid of, to cheat Bernie Sanders out of a fair chance in the Democratic primary. He leaked this information to Wikileaks, who put it out there, that exploded this whole thing wide open. And somehow the DNC, the Hillary Clinton campaign, found out that it was Seth Rich and had him killed. Now, this is nothing new for the Clintons. They have a long list of bodies behind them. I'm not going to get into that here. That's not what this video is about. Google it, do some research, and you'll find out yourself. And this is where the narrative had begun with the Russian hack. From that point on, the media started to make it as if Trump and Russia were in collusion. Now that they had their villain for the hackers, Russia, they were trying to tie it to Trump. And the Democrats really beat into the ground this whole Trump-Russia narrative. And the Russian hacks, as Clinton put it in that one post-defeat interview that she did, Russian Wikileaks. Now, there's absolutely no evidence of this at all. None.
I know that you and some of your colleagues from the Senate Intelligence Committee drove over to Langley, Virginia yesterday to CIA headquarters, and you were briefed. Here's the question. And you don't have to provide us with any classified information, Senator, but do you have evidence that there was in fact collusion between Trump associates and Russia during the campaign?
Not at this time.
Well, that's a pretty precise answer. I know the investigation is continuing. Senator, thanks.
So recently, Seth Rich has made it back into the news quite a bit for a good reason. I had figured myself that it had to be an internal leaker. A lot of people, I think, had thought back like in October, November, before the election, that it was possibly Seth Rich. But again, this had gone away. It had gone away until recently, where it's resurfaced. And now they're pushing Seth Rich from the left side as a conspiracy theory, as a right-wing conspiracy theory, as they always call these things, right-wing conspiracy theories. And in the alternative media, there's obviously been lots of coverage, excuse me, there's been lots of coverage, but in the mainstream media, not so much, except Sean Hannity. Sean Hannity has really been rocking this narrative, and good on him. But because of this, he's being attacked, major, big league by the left, calling him a conspiracy theorist, trying to get him fired, trying to have his advertisers back away from advertising on his programs on Fox or WOR 710, the radio station. I don't have cable. I don't watch news. I don't watch Fox News. I might watch some Tucker Carlson clips on YouTube. But I listen to Sean Hannity at work because I have the radio on where I work. I listen to him. I listen to Rush Limbaugh. And Sean Hannity has been pushing this a lot. And when you look on Twitter, there are a lot of lefties going after him. And I must commend Sean Hannity for doing a great job on this. Now, Sean Hannity has interviewed Julian Assange.
I had him on this radio program, and I asked him a number of times, same question. Any evidence? Hey, listen to the question and answer.
Our source is not the Russian government.
So, in other words, let me be clear. Russia did not give you the Podesta documents or anything from the DNC.
That's correct.
Nothing. It was not any state, he says.
And Julian Assange has also done an interview with a Dutch media outlet where he talks about Seth Rich.
All right. Now, for those of you that are immediately going to try and smear Julian Assange, whether you like him, don't like him, trust him, don't trust him, he's never been proven wrong. Not one time. Not once in 11 years. So he's giving an interview to Dutch television. Now, pay very close attention. He starts talking about whistleblowers, the efforts that people go to, the risks that people take to get him information that he then checks out and has not been proven wrong on in 11 years, whether you like what he does or doesn't. not been proven wrong. And then he immediately, without skipping a beat, starts talking about Seth Rich. Listen.
Whistleblowers go to significant efforts to get us material and often very significant risks. There's a 27-year-old works for the DNC who was shot in the back, murdered just 2 weeks ago for unknown reasons as he was walking down the street in Washington. So
that was just a robbery, I believe, wasn't it?
No, there's no finding. So
what are you suggesting? What are you suggesting?
I'm suggesting that our sources take risks and they become concerned to see things occurring like that.
But was he one of your sources then? I mean,
we don't comment on who our sources are.
But why make the suggestion about a young guy being shot in the streets of Washington?
Because we have to understand how high the stakes are in the United States and that our sources face serious risks. That's why they come to us, so we can protect their anonymity.
But it's quite something to suggest a murder. That's basically what you're doing.
Well, others have suggested that. We are investigating to understand what happened in that situation with Seth Rich. I think it is a concerning situation. There's not a conclusion yet. We wouldn't be willing to state a conclusion, but we are concerned about it. And more importantly, a variety of WikiLeaks sources are concerned when that kind of thing happens.
So they had Seth Rich killed and, a robbery where nothing was stolen from him. And they doubled down on the Russian narrative, the Russia-Trump collusion narrative. Except now, Seth Rich has resurfaced. And now you got Kim.com, who put out a statement saying that he knew Seth Rich. He knew for a fact that Seth Rich was the WikiLeaks leaker, not the Russians. Just like Julian Assange had said, it was not the Russians. I think the left is in panic mode, quite honestly. I mean, particularly Hillary Clinton, John Podesta, probably others. Uma Abedin, who was emailing classified information, classified emails to Anthony Weiner, the pervert who just pleaded guilty to sexting a 15-year-old girl, who is now a registered, or will be a registered sex offender, Carlos Danger. So Uma Abedin was also emailing Carlos Danger classified emails from Hillary's illegal bathroom server that she had. It's incredibly funny how everyone is so concerned about emails and Trump and Russia when there is so much more evidence towards Hillary Clinton. The 33,000 deleted emails, the FBI subpoena that she deleted the emails after getting, everything James Comey had said that time about her negligence, about doing all these bad things, but for whatever reason they didn't prosecute her. And yet, everybody focuses on Trump-Russia collusion. Let's just say for a second that Russia did hack these emails, right? Let's just pretend, even though it didn't happen. The findings should be what worry people. The Clinton criminal activities, the collusions between Clinton and the DNC, everything else that was found in these emails, down in Brazil cheating, all of this should be the attention of focus. But for some reason, this is all getting overlooked over this silly witch hunt of Russia-Trump conspiracies. Meanwhile, you have absolutely no evidence to prove it.
Is there any evidence of Trump-Russia collusion? Don't take Sean Hannity's word for it. I want all of you to quote the Democrats, not me.
But Mr. Clapper then went on to say that, to his knowledge, there was no evidence of collusion between members of the Trump campaign and the Russians. We did not conclude any evidence in our report. And when I say our report, that is the NSA, FBI, and CIA, with my office, the Director of National Intelligence, that had any reflection of collusion between the members of the Trump campaign and the Russians. There was no evidence of that in our report. Was Mr. Clapper wrong when he said that?
I think he's right about characterizing the report, which you all have read.
We did not include any evidence in our report, and I say our, that's NSA, FBI, and CIA with my office, the Director of National Intelligence, that had anything that had any reflection of collusion between members of the Trump campaign and the Russians. There was no evidence of that included in our report.
Can you say definitively that there was collusion? There were people affiliated with the Trump campaign who were working with Russians to time the release of damaging information about Hillary Clinton that had been hacked either from John Podesta or the DNC?
I don't think we can say anything definitively at this point.
Have you seen anything, either intelligence briefings, anything to back up any of the accusations that you've made?
They have the documentation that they did the hacking.
The hacking.
On the DNC.
Right.
And on some of us, that have.
But the collusion, though?
No, we have not.
Do you have evidence that there was, in fact, collusion between Trump associates and Russia during the campaign?
Not at this time.
Have you seen anything that suggests any collusion between the Russians and the Trump campaign?
Well, there's an awful lot of smoke there, let's put it that way. People that might have said they were involved, to what extent they were involved, to what extent the president might have known about these people or whatever. There's nothing there from that standpoint that we have seen directly linking our president to any of that.
As stated by many Democrats, FBI Director James Comey, former FBI Director James Comey, but yet everyone is focusing on Trump-Russia collusion. I don't understand this. How retarded or corrupt, well, I mean, there's both. The ones making the media, making the news are obviously corrupt, and the ones believing it are obviously retarded. That's the only explanation that makes sense. I don't know if the truth will ever come out on this. It could. It's possible. Since there are leaks and emails and people that were handing over documents to whistleblowers, Seth Rich, there must be some kind of trail. It's a matter of putting the truth, the knowledge into the right hands that will investigate this 100%, and when they come to the conclusive evidence and end of the investigation, that they will honestly put it out there and prosecute whomever Hillary Clinton deserves to be prosecuted. So I do believe that there is a serious possibility that this will be solved at some point. When? How long? That's a different story. I do also believe that nothing will come out saying that Trump and Russia were in collusions. Nothing. There's going to be a lot on this. It's a lot. I mean, this was just a general breakdown. There is a lot of information out there that needs to be sifted through, read. I mean, there are people doing this. And because of that, I believe at some point the truth will come out. And hopefully those involved will be prosecuted. Anyway, that's all I have for this video. I hope you enjoy it. I hope if you were on the fence about it or didn't know about it, that you will look into it for yourself. Google some of these things. Do a little research. If you have anything more to add, go ahead and say it down in the comments below. If you like this video, go ahead and like it. Subscribe to my channel. Share this video. Watch my other videos as well. And thanks a lot. I will see you next time. I'm out of here.